It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Christie driving on Kessler, swatted with his left hand into the sixth row. Walker Kessler has 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block shot now. Kyle spinning on the rookie, beats him badly and scores. Well, Kyle established pretty well this summer that if you're lesser caliber resume than he is, he will cook you. An absolute stunner. Back cut, Hendricks dunk. John Collins gets beat on that one. Kyle Filipowski with another great pass. Jazz have 38 assists tonight, and they have 5 guys with 4 or more. Crowd comes to their feet on what was a truly marvelous night by the Utah Jazz. 129-108. Ty Lue gives Will Hardy an embrace.
Oh, my goodness. That was a masterpiece of brilliance. How about that? Is that good enough, Yock? Going back
that works.
What was... that seems like 100 years ago now when Will Hardy said that after a brutal loss. And the Jazz, what a marvelous win. All you doubters, I'm calling you to the carpet right now. You must repent or otherwise admit that you are wrong. The Jazz were absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe what these eyes were seeing. I felt like the first time Rudy's father got upon the campus of Notre Dame. I cannot
this
believe
is
what
the
these
best
eyes
sight these eyes have ever seen.
Everybody played well. Even Cody Williams' 2 minutes was electric. Okay, maybe not. But the Jazz just blowing out the Clippers, man. That game was not even a game for, just about the entire time once the Jazz took the lead and ran away and hid. Now, very few times they're going to shoot 55%, but that's exactly what the Jazz did from the floor. 55%, 48 of 87. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was incredible how well they played making those baskets. And the Clippers would never even make a run. Walker Kessler, now he didn't play a whole lot in the preseason, but man, it's the go time. Did you know, Yak, he leads the league in field goal percentage right now at 1,000?
Well, there we go. Something count right now. Season's over. MVP.
He's 7 for 7, 9 boards. You heard Locke with the stats there. Even threw in 4 assists for a big man. That's impressive numbers. And Jerry Sloan was smiling from the great beyond because you get 6 fouls, and Walker Kessler used 5 of them, which shows a level of aggressiveness. He had 1 foul that wasn't very aggressive. It was kind of no man's land there on the other side of half court, but so what? And he was awesome, no doubt about it. You really got to look at him and say, is he going to take that next step? You know, we're not just talking about one game. We're talking about his ability to take that next step. Can he do it? Can he do it, 4 out of 5 games, whatever it might be, 8 out of 10 games? Well, certainly a great debut as far as that goes. I mean, he just looked incredible. I can't say enough about him. Clearly, he was awesome. And then the other two, Filipowski, he showed well. He only took 10 shots. Marketing. That's the kind of game that I like to see out of Marketing. A quiet game. If you score 20 and it's considered quiet, that's impressive. And you put in 4 of 7 from 3, 6 boards, 5 assists. As Locke said, 38 assists. That's a staggering number when you think about it there. I'm interested in that, and we'll talk to Locke tomorrow on Friday, that they did start Filipowski over Hendricks. I thought it was going to be Hendricks, but no. They went with Filipowski, who's a second-year guy. I mean, you can argue, obviously, the Hendricks injury last year. He's a second-year guy because he didn't play very much last year, just right at the beginning of the season with the injury that set him out the whole season. But we'll see how that develops. Sensapaw, okay, has he found a role on his team coming off the bench? 20 points, shoot. You're open, shoot. But the thing that impressed me, we can go down and you can look at the box score and it sort of speaks for itself. But a bunch of guys did a lot of different things. Like Walt Clayton, I guess he wants to be called Walt, not Walter, so we'll call him Walt if that's what he wants. Walt Clayton Jr. In just 18 minutes, he didn't look overwhelmed. 10 points, all right, that's nice. He's a shooter, scorer. But I like the 6 boards and the 5 assists. They were moving the ball. Now, shots went in, so everything is going to be higher in the assist total and the shooting percentage. Of course it is. But also Borden, 46 boards to 38 for the Clippers. That's pretty impressive as far as that goes. All right, where are they back in action Friday, tomorrow, up in Sacramento, right? Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. The Kings got beat down there in Phoenix, but they're missing one of their best guys, arguably their best guy. We'll get to that next, right now, with the NBA coming up.
Hashtag NBA.
BJ with it. Sixers standing around. BJ drives it. Cut off by Anthony Simons. 5 to shoot. Maxey with it. 1-on-1. Back to BJ. Right side. Open 3 in the air. He got it. Edgecombe with his first tray. Boy, that two-man game was really stationed on that right side, and Edgecombe pays it off with a 3.
Gets it into Wembanyama, guarded by Washington. Wembanyama, the fake, the reverse, and the foul. Wembanyama working Davis, spinning, taking, hitting, plus the foul.
Booker at the top of the key, backing up on Schroeder, fades from 15 and knocks it down on the left elbow. Devin Booker puts the Suns up 4. He's got 26. It's 115-111 with 36 seconds to go.
And switched on to Jeremy Grant. Shot clock is down to 6. Still beyond the three-point line. He shoves off, steps back, 3-ball. He got it! 39 for Edwards. Wolves in front. 114-112. Big-time shot by Ant in the clutch.
All right, those are some highlights around the NBA. A lot of games. I was flicking around on my DirecTV. I get my free package, and you know me and free, Yak. I got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
And so for the next week, you can get to watch all the games. I don't buy the NBA package because of the fact that most of the time I'm going to be watching the Jazz, and plus there's other games on that I already have money laid out. I don't want to lay out any more money. But last night was not one of those nights. I was checking it all out constantly. Let's see. Let's start with, we'll go with the Kings because that team is the Jazz's next opponent. They had a 20-point lead in the first half, but we've seen it a million times, 20-point leads in the first half, particularly on the road, sort of wither away, and the Suns got them. Beat him by 4. Devin Booker. Man, Devin Booker is in his 11th season already. That just seems hard to believe. He had 31. Now, the Kings were without Sabonis, who I believe is their best player, right? And he has a hamstring strain. They showed him on the bench there several times. So we'll see if he's available tomorrow night. As far as that goes, that'll be an advantage to the Jazz if they don't have to face him. Now, you heard in that little highlight, Edgecombe, the kid out of Baylor, VJ Edgecombe. This is an impressive stat that he had, right? He scores the most points by a rookie. I didn't even know that they could do this, but I guess there's a stat for everything. Since Wilt Chamberlain made his debut, 34 points. And that goes back in 1959 as the 76ers squeak by the Jason Tatum-less Boston Celtics. Now, we saw Edgecombe come in here with Baylor, and boy, he has an NBA body already. It's amazing that he had that as a young kid. And so Philly takes him. And that was good for the Jazz because then they got Ace Bailey. I realized Ace Bailey came off the bench, didn't really have a major impact on the game, and Edgecombe did. But it's not like they could have drafted Edgecombe because he was gone. And Tyrese Maxey had 40, for those of you who are interested. Joel Embiid played 1 of 9. Only played 20 minutes. He's on a restriction. And, of course, Paul George is injured, so he did not play. We'll see how that goes for the 76ers. Can they be a good team? And what's that? Kada, he actually started for Boston. I assume that it was in place of Jason Tatum for the Celtics.
It seems that way.
Didn't you, Ben? He went to Utah State.
Nimish
obviously.
Keita, yep.
Yeah. No, he was 7 of 8 from the field for 17 points. And I don't think most people think Boston's going to do a whole lot because Jason Tatum is going to be out for most of the season, if not the whole year. And how about this? How do we say his name? Didn't he change his name, the pronunciation? Yegor? What is it? What's the latest?
Yegor Dielman.
Sounds like there's an L in there.
When he came over, PK, the traditional pronunciation of his last name is Dielman, and he was very clear that it was, Demon, and then switched it back when he went to the NBA.
Okay, well, it's going to take me a while to get used to that because it took me a while to get used to how to say it last season.
Yegor Dielman. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. He had 14 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 4 of 6 shooting. Now, obviously, the Nets are not expected to do a whole lot. We understand that. But he's a high pick. Where did he go? Did he go 8th?
8th overall. Yep, he was their highest of the 5 picks they've made.
Yeah. So, nice debut for the kid. I mean, everybody liked him here. He just seemed like an innocent, great young kid. And so we'll follow his development there for the they're not the New Jersey Nets anymore. I guess they're the
Brooklyn
Nets,
right? Yep.
Yeah, so just across the bridge there. But they're going to be one of the teams that's going to stink this year, as anticipated to stink for sure about that. And then, wow, this is a big story, Yak. This is just breaking overnight.
Well, no, not like
it
lasts like 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, okay, overnight. Yeah. I saw it I thought it was about an hour or so ago. Why don't you explain it, since you're up to date on it? I mean, I saw a headline, but you probably read it.
Yeah, so the FBI is out and about this morning, arresting people apparently all over the country in a big gambling investigation that includes. The first one we heard about was Terry Rozier from the Miami Heat, one of their guards. He has been arrested this morning, and to add to it, Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups has been arrested this morning for investigation into this. Now, the word around Chauncey Billups is not betting on his own team, but betting on other games, apparently in the NBA, etc.
So it's a Pete Rose thing.
It kind of feels that way. Now, Pete obviously admitted to gambling on his own team, and we'll see what the investigation comes out with. Kash Patel, the FBI director, is supposed to speak at a press conference at 8 a.m. with more details on all of this.
Yeah, that is, wow. It's shocking to me that somebody like that, like Chauncey Billups, would do any form of gambling in the NBA. I mean, when we were under the auspices of the Jazz, which are not anymore, they would tell us that you could not gamble. I mean, we're way down the food chain, that you could not gamble on NBA games. Now, I've never gambled 1 cent on an NBA game, so I just looked at it and moved on because I had no temptation whatsoever to do it. It didn't interest me in the least. But they would always say that you couldn't do that. And Billups, and especially with all the crap that Pete Rose went through. I mean, obviously Pete Rose did bet on his own team, but it took for years and years for him to finally acknowledge what was absolutely true, and everybody sort of thought that with such a big, heavy ban. So there you go, and they're gonna speak at the top of the hour here locally, our time, to go from there. Wow, interesting. One other thing on the NBA, Cooper Flagg didn't have a good debut. Only scored 10, 4 of 13 for shooting as the Mavericks got smoked by the Spurs in Dallas. All right, that's a lot of NBA, and it's just begun. Oh, you also heard Anthony Edwards went off for 41. Timberwolves beat the Trailblazers. I think that game was in Portland last night. So we'll wait for the news to see how this story develops, and we'll have it for you right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's move on to the NFL.
Hashtag NFL.
The euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart. That was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. So, and I might be able to see how he might perceive that. But coming off that win and watching how he played, yeah, that wasn't any intention at all.
That is Denver Broncos coach Sean Payton, who got himself in a little bit of hot water when he said that he was hoping that the Broncos didn't see Jackson Dart, which Russ Wilson, who was with the Broncos now, is backing up Dart with the Giants. That he took it as a slight against him, and he called it classless and did the bounty gate thing. That was several years ago. That was a long time ago now, right? That Sean Payton was part of with New Orleans, and so Sean Payton wants to walk that back, and there you go. Said he didn't intend, no way, shape, or form to criticize Russ. But he thinks that he can understand how Wilson may have taken it that way. So I guess we put that story to bed. Now, we have got NFL football tonight. The Vikings and the Chargers, 6:15 on Prime Video, as it usually is on the Thursday night game. And how about this? We talk about Sabonis with a hamstring strain. Now we need to talk about Washington Commanders star QB Jaden Daniels. He's got a hamstring strain. And so they will go to Marcus Mariota. And that's a Monday night game with the Chiefs. I was looking forward to that game. And maybe Mariota can play well in a limited, not in a limited, but he's been limited. He hasn't played that much. But I was looking forward to that game to see Daniels because he's an impressive young quarterback. So there you go. They won't have him on Monday. And Aaron Rodgers, yep, he doesn't see the upcoming matchup with the Green Bay Packers as quote a revenge game as he goes against the team who drafted him. Quote, I don't have any animosity toward the organization. Obviously, I wish things had been better in our last year there, but I have a great relationship with a lot of people still in that organization, and this is not a revenge game for me. I'm just excited to see some of those guys and be on Sunday Night Football again. So that's your Sunday night game, would be the Steelers against the Packers as we start to bear down and get closer to another weekend in the NFL. Okay, there you go, DJ and PK. Let's move on to college football.
Hashtag college football.
Is Utah Yak the healthiest team in the history of college football?
Apparently.
Because their injury report is always, without fail, the shortest of any team that we see.
No doubt. Now, there was a bit of a change, it appears, because season-ending injuries that Utah had listed previously, as well as BYU, are no longer on these player availability reports from the Big 12. There hasn't been much clarification on if that's just it was an omission or if that's a new thing. But, yeah, Utah, 3 players in all on their availability report.
Who were they?
They would be quarterback Devin Dampier, wide receiver Tobias Merriweather, and defensive tackle Dallas Vakalahi.
Yes, now all those 3 are listed as questionable, and obviously all eyes went on the Utah quarterback Devin Dampier. As we know, Kyle Whittingham said on Monday that it was his distinct possibility that the Birdman would get in there. Now that's Bird with a Y, not with an I. You must remember that. I'm curious to see. I'm excited if he gets to play to see what he can do. But as I said earlier in the week, I do not think that Dampier should be benched by any stretch. Do I think that they brought him in, and I think by and large he's delivered on what he was capable of doing when they brought him in. But at the same time, if he's got an injury, I don't want to hear 3 weeks after the game. Now they play Colorado, obviously, Saturday night. I don't want to hear that he was hampered like we did with Texas Tech.
I was going to say.
And then reveal it after you have a big-time win against the Sun Devils and then say, oh, he was hurt. No. I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me 3 weeks later after you lose that, oh, well, with the implication. Even if you didn't mean it was the implication, a lot of people took it as the implication. No, if he's hurt and can't go or can't have the effectiveness. If he can't run, there really is no point in playing him because he's not going to beat you with his arm. I think we've proven that halfway through the season. So we'll see how that develops. I mean, Kyle's going to be coy with that. That's just who he is. And he's decided that the other team has a distinct advantage if they find out your quarterback can't play. I think whoop-de-doo on that, but that's where he's gotten that hole, and he's going to stay in there probably forever until he's done coaching. But hopefully Dampier can play. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. BYU listed Raider Demooney and Prasis. Those are both safeties as doubtful. They've been in that situation for a bit. And I told you the other day, I think I told you yesterday, that Jordan Tyson probably wasn't going to play. Well, he's out. Sun Devils, a big blow as far as that goes, not having their receiver, who is really good. And Colorado State's starting quarterback, Braden Fowler, has left the Rams after Jay Norvell was fired. He started 28 games, expected to enter the transfer portal. Now, Jackson Purcell, is that a local kid?
Yeah, Lehigh High School. Yep.
Yeah, I recognized the name, and I knew there was a quarterback who went to Colorado State out of there. Okay, there you go. That is some of your college football. MLB, let's have it.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants, they're going to hire the Tennessee's Volunteers coach. I guess I call him coach at the college level, but he's going to be their new manager, Tony Vitello. He's their new skipper. He's going to make MLB history as he makes the leap from college to MLB with no previous professional coaching experience. Now, Tennessee won the College World Series in 2024. And they got a really good program, obviously. And he's a single guy, no kids. He can make the move there and not have to worry about family. And away he goes. The Giants have their manager for the 26th season. That'll be interesting to see how that works. I mean, there's been other guys who've made the move. Pat Murphy, who coached, was the manager for the Brewers. He was ASU's head coach for a good number of years, several years ago.
Yeah.
But then he worked his way into professional ball, and now Vitello has no experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is not him jumping to the Giants organization and working his way up maybe from double or triple A.
Yeah,
He's going straight from Tennessee to the head job in San Francisco.
Let's see how that goes. Okay, that's your news out of the MLB. Let's move on to golf.
Hashtag golf.
The Bank of Utah Championship begins today at Black Desert. I will be there, Yak. I will be there. Now, I will not take the Concorde and fly down to St. George. I'm already here. I was over at the course yesterday and looking forward to this. It's supposed to be good enough weather the rest of the week. Excited. Max Homa's in there, Jason Day, Sahith
Theegala. Yep.
Yeah. That's some of the, I think it's a bigger name field than it was in their initial one last year. That was won by Matt McCarty, Phoenix kid, who would have gone and played his college golf at Santa Clara, I believe. He won the thing last year. The locals in there, Patrick Fishburne, they had him on the Golf Channel on the radio as I was driving down, listening to him. I think he went to Fremont High and BYU, right?
Yes, he is. He's a Fremont Silver Wolf.
So, big kid. He's like 6'4", 220. Zach Blair, you've heard of him. Preston Summerhays. He has obviously Summerhays' name, playing his college golf at ASU. Got a local tie there. And then Kihei Akina. Did I say his first name right?
Kihei Akina.
Kihei.
Freshman at BYU.
Akina. Yeah. Now, he played last year, so he would have been at Lone Peak last year as a freshman at BYU.
Yep.
And I think he missed the cut by one single stroke.
Correct, yes.
Last year. So, Kihei Akina, he's a young phenom to keep an eye on to see where this goes as far as how good he will be. I assume he's going to be able to be on the tour. Maybe that is too early of an assumption, but that's what I'm anticipating because he's one of these kids, locally golf-wise, that I've heard about for 3 or 4 years now, well before he was out of high school, and he showed well last year. And how about this, man? This was big news yesterday. The PGA Tour is canceling the Century, which is at Kapalua, which always opens the season in January, right? It's the first weekend of January. Now, they don't have a course that's ready to go. The Plantation course has had issues with water, and I guess it's just not in good enough condition to play, so they don't have an alternative. So they will not have it. They canceled it this year. So that means, what is it, the Sony the following week?
Yep, the Sony Open on Honolulu will open the season.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the NHL.
Hashtag NHL.
Mammoth 5-2, 5-2-0. They open a road trip tonight against the Blues in St. Louis. What can they do? Will they go 1-2 on the first road trip? Is that what it was?
Correct, yes.
And then 4-0 at home at the Delta Center that they wrapped up a couple nights ago with a beautiful overtime win against the Avalanche. Now they are in St. Louis to start this road trip. The puck is dropping at 6 p.m. Coverage right here on the KSL Sports Zone begins at 5 p.m. with Hockey Night in Utah. That's our guy Adrian Denny. He's still doing that, right? And,
correct.
He's pretty good. I usually listen to that when I can because he has a lot of information as I try to continue to get up to speed more and more with hockey. So we'll watch that. See what the Mammoth do tonight. Can they get that road win? They get a road win, 6-2, man. All right. I mean, we had high hopes for them as far as making the playoffs. Well, that's a great start. They have an opportunity to really solidify themselves. That's still early, obviously. It's way early, but why not stay ahead of the pace and be above the line the whole season so you don't have to worry about that? Okay, that is the NHL. We'll wrap it up with soccer, Yacker.
Hashtag RSL.
It's over. It is over. DJ can come back and be a part of the Sports Zone and not have to worry about the soccer anymore, as RSL went to Portland and they lost 3-2-1. It's 2-1 at halftime, and they could not score in the second half, and Portland added one.
No, they couldn't score. They had 2 equalizers waved off, PK, due to fouls and the like.
Fetch. But that's what happened. They had an interesting season, and now they'll have the off-season with the Millers owning them completely to see what they can do because that transition was made during the season. The season's very long. Seems like it'll be here again before you know it. It'll start up. But they're done. Season's over. So there you go. What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. It's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Now, we got an interesting dichotomy of guests. Barry Tremmel making his weekly appearance will be at 8 o'clock. 8:30, Jones, how do you say his last name? Angel?
We're going to learn together. I've heard 2 different pronunciations based on the internet search I made, so we'll see.
He is the North Carolina play-by-play broadcaster. Now, we're talking basketball. We're not talking Tar Heel football, right?
Well, it's because the Tar Heels happen to be coming to town tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting. They've got, it is tomorrow, right? It's not Saturday. They've got this exhibition game with BYU at the Delta Center. BYU basketball. I was watching some of that yesterday with the Media Days back there in Kansas. Now they'll be coming out and they'll have a game. That's not supposed to count, but still kind of a big deal because of North Carolina. And then at 9:05, John Walters, who's the play-by-play football broadcaster for the Iowa State Cyclones, and they're entertaining BYU on Saturday afternoon. So stay with us. There you go. That's the lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Bronco Mendenhall makes his return to Albuquerque as the Aggies hit the road for a battle against the New Mexico Lobos. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Aggie football. Then catch all the play-by-play action beginning with the Aggie pregame show this Saturday at noon on 1280 a.m. Your exclusive home for Aggie football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
33-16. Clayton with a steal. Outlet to Bailey. Ace big steps to the rack. Rises with the right hand. Cocks and hammers. Timeout Tyronn Lue. Utah 35. Clippers 16. Hey, how about this? Wow. Wow. Wow.
Was that a 3-row moment?
Wow! Wow! Yeah, 3 of them.
Ace Bailey had that one move. He's super athletic. He can cover a lot of ground with that long body of his, and he showed that. Yeah, that was really amazing to see what the Clippers were able to just roll over and die like they didn't want to be there. They already had mid-season fatigue. The Jazz took the big lead and then never gave it up. That was amazing. The Clippers didn't really even make a run. They did not make a run, didn't even really show any life, any form of competitiveness. That was impressive, you got to admit. Now, what do we think about that? Game one, I mean, you want to see them win, but do you want to see them win a lot? The draft pick and all? Well, based on one game, and that's all it is, one stinking game, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to have a top 10 pick. For what is that worth? I don't know. There's so much left to be played, and who knows what's going to happen there. But, man, that game, if you're a Jazz fan, how do you not like that? I put that up on Facebook. What'd you think of that? Yeah. Melanie, I've seen her name out there. She's a hardcore sports fan. Great game, lots of positive. The Jazz played very connected. And Dirk Favors was there, huh? How about that? Dirk Favors. Come back. That's another thing that we keep saying. For a place, we were talking about this yesterday, for a place that doesn't get a lot of run in terms of people liking it, ex-players or players, when they get older, they seem to love it because they come back quite often. So, Cooper, a lot of their recent losing seasons started with a win in Game 1. Wait until the new year to see where this team is headed. Okay, that gives you a fair amount. I think there's checkpoints along the way, though. Don't you, Yak? We have to wait till New Year's. I think we can go Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Oh, absolutely.
I think there's opportunities to see. There's a bunch of games between now and January 1.
And the other thing is this opening slate of games is one of the softer portions of the Jazz schedule if you just go simply by the on paper type deal. So they may get off to a little quicker of a start, but to your point, PK, by Thanksgiving we'll have an idea. By Christmas, and then maybe by the All-Star break, we'll have these checkpoints that we'll be able to check in on.
Yeah. There you go. Daniel, seeing the look on the Clippers' faces when Lowry kept getting alley-oop dunking on them in the first quarter was awesome. Walker nails an open three. I wish the Jazz played this good every game. Well, if they played that well every game, then they are going to the postseason.
And who would care about a pick at that point if you're in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's something to think about as the storyline develops. Either get in the playoffs or make sure that you keep the pick, But what I felt that this team, as far as the draft pick, has enough talent to get themselves beyond the pick. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where they can lose the pick. It seems to me, and I felt this all along, just when the team was put together and trying to analyze it. I'm not ready to say this is a playoff team by any stretch, but the idea of 17 wins, it seems to me this team has more talent than that. I feel confident in saying that there's more talent than 17 wins. And what does that mean? There's going to be some crappy teams this year for sure, because the system, as much as it stinks, it basically calls for that. That's the way to get better. There's not a lot of player movement, signings of free agents that you can get and turn the corner on your franchise with one or two players that you might be able to sign in the offseason. So how else are you going to do it? Nate, you got to draft and then you got to develop, right? There's just really no other way. I mean, college teams now have more of an opportunity to change their fortunes quicker than NBA teams do.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening.
100%.
Right. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it, but that's the reality of the situation. I was listening. I said I watched I think it was on ESPN2 yesterday. They had the Big 12 Media Days back there in KC, right? And so I'm watching, and they got my guy Fraschilla. He's there talking about these teams and these players and all this stuff. And they put on Bobby Hurley, right? I'm not much of an ASU basketball fan compared to what I am baseball and football. In fact, hardly at all, because coming from the Northeast, it was all about the professional ranks. And then when I moved to Phoenix, they had the Suns, so the NBA was already there. So my college ratio interest to NBA has always been very much slanted towards the NBA, right? Well, he said, it caught my ear what he said. They brought in a bunch of international players, and you know why he said that? He said because the American players were too expensive. Think about that. That's literally what he said. So at the college ranks, you can change your fortunes a lot quicker than you can in the NBA. So you're going to have to lose to get these picks. That's just the way it is, man. There's nothing more you can say about that. So with that in mind, you're going to lose. And the Jazz, if they play their guys and their guys are healthy, seems to me they've got enough talent to lose that draft pick.
Well, yeah, and like you said, we're kind of going off a one-game sample size right now, but the way they came out of the gates last night showed that the young talent, it's there. Like, I just played the highlight of Ace Bailey coming into this segment. Well, he had one dribble, PK. He went three-quarters of the court. Absolutely incredible just with that long stride.
Right.
We're seeing Bryce Sensabaugh be able to hit everything. Keontae George, I've been so hesitant to believe a lot of the hype. Reluctant about his work in the offseason. That a lot of people say he transformed his game and the like. Well, last night it looked like, he looks like the point guard that really could lead this team forward. But we'll see how it all goes. It's going to unfold over the next 81 games now. Yeah.
I just think that there's talent there to lose that draft pick. And Austin Ainge talked about that, and he said they weren't going to tank. So if they're not going to tank, that means you're going to try to win. And Ace Bailey with that big dunk, he does cover a lot of ground in his stride. So what do you think, Jazz fans? You comfortable with losing the pick if they win more? I am. I mean, you got to start winning. You got to show signs. I mean, I would love to get the Bansa here. There's a kid, obviously, who's been around Utah, and then he's not going to be it wouldn't be a big move for him and all that stuff. And can he be a cornerstone? Yeah. But maybe that just doesn't happen. I don't know. We'll have to see how it develops. I mean, it's a long way to go. But, man, they sure look good, and they couldn't have looked better. Now, the Clippers, maybe they stink. Maybe they're an old team who's going to already go through the motions. We shall see that.
Did you hear the stat from Tim Lacombe last night on the broadcast?
What did he say?
They are the oldest team, speaking of the Los Angeles Clippers, in NBA history, an average age of 33.2 years, outdoing the 2000-2001 Utah Jazz, who previously held that record.
That's a cool stat.
So, they've got a really old team, and they have very little in terms of flexibility with draft picks and the like. So, they're rolling with who they've got, PK, and they're going to have to hope that Kawhi Leonard plays a whole lot better than he did last night.
Yeah. And then it just looked like they looked disinterested, and the Jazz look young and fresh. There's going to be storylines in the NBA. Could this team be a surprise? I'm pumping the brakes on everything as far as that goes, but we shall see. That's the big story of the day. We got Barry Trammell talking about college football at the top of the hour. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. With the Holy War behind them, the Cougars get set for a trip to the Midwest for a Saturday afternoon showdown against Iowa State. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch College Football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with a postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
That is Eric Church you hear playing. I think the song is called Springsteen. It feels like a July Saturday night. Not a July Saturday night. It needs to be a July Saturday night. And today the artist is Eric Church as he performs at the Delta Center tonight. It is brought to you by Live Nation. For all your live concert and events in 2025, check out livenation.com. Whoa. I've seen Eric Church in concert. Puts on a fine show. And you know what's funny? We have at the bottom of the hour, next hour at 8:30, we're talking about the big exhibition game between the BYU Cougars and the North Carolina Tar Heels. And did you know, Yak, a resident hardcore Tar Heel basketball fan is Eric Church?
I had heard that he was a big UNC guy, so yeah, there you go.
And there was fairly recently, in the last few years, that he was considering canceling a concert because he had scheduled it on the Final Four weekend.
Yes. Yeah, he said, we're going to postpone this if they make the Final Four and the like. So,
and he took some crap.
He took some heat for it, but I can understand at the same time. He's a sports fan. He's entitled.
No.
Why not?
Instead of, because, man, what do you mean, why not? Because people pay money to see this, obviously.
Yeah, he wasn't straight up canceling. He was just going to move it.
Yeah, right. But some people pay money to go see a show.
Touché.
And they fly into town. Now, I can't remember who told me this, but there was, oh, man, I wish I can remember who did it. So I know some people up here in northern Utah, they were going to go see an artist who was not coming here, but was coming to Phoenix. Oh, I know it was. It's a friend of mine. I got the story down now. Yes. And so his sister lives in the Phoenix area, right? And so he buys plane ticket and they cancel the show. Well, they didn't cancel it. They postponed it. But he's flying in for the show. And so he flies in. The idea was he had to work, right? So he flies in like around 4 o'clock. The show's going to be 7 o'clock. And then the next morning he's flying back to go to work, right? I don't remember the artist. Well, he does that, and they postpone the show, move it to another day. And so he said basically he went and had dinner with his sister and then flew back.
Hey, you're building family bonds there, okay? I can respect it. But I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just not the people who, let's say the show was in Dallas. It's just not the people who could drive, we can just drive over another day. That happened a few years back. Oh, this is a funny story. It was someone associated with BYU, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but bought they bought a slew of tickets, like 15, 20 tickets, because it was going to be the family, the extended family, and they were all going to go see the Eagles. And this was a few years back, and Don Henley got sick. He literally got sick. And so they postponed the show. It was going to be early May. They postponed the show till the end of May, right? Well, you wouldn't think that would be a big deal. Well, the funny thing is they postponed the show till Sunday, and this person who is employed by BYU is a fairly visible person. And so the person felt, and I don't even want to give up the gender, that the person could not go because it was on a Sunday, and that person would be noticed and then be called out and possibly get itself into hot water. And so the family went, but the employee did not go, which I think is a little extreme as far as that goes. With that Sunday thing is that's hit and miss as far as what can be done, what can't be done there. But anyway, that's what happened. So they did not go to the show. So, yeah, I think it's kind of weak that you cancel it just because your team is playing. You should have thought of that. You should have had confidence in your team that your team was going to get to the Final Four. And North Carolina coming in, playing. What time is that? Is it 7 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a 7 o'clock game, yep.
Yeah. And you got to buy tickets, right? It's not for free.
Yeah, you buy tickets. That obviously is going to be split between the two teams. In terms of broadcast details, it's going to be on ESPN+.
Okay, yeah. Now it's a preseason exhibition game, so when they went back to Nebraska, they lost, but they sat out DeBonso the last 4 or 5 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah. They had.
And he had 30.
He had 30, and had he been in for the final stanza, they'd probably pull away in that one and win it. the other thing is, like guys like Rob Wright III, we're also on a minutes restriction.
Right. So let's not go too crazy on the result. But North Carolina coming to town. I think it's cool that they're going to do it. All right, we'll get back to college football next. We get Barry Trimble making his weekly visit, talking Big 12 and college football. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.